We have to consider what Donald Trump would like to say about the security, because he's responsible for security of the world as the leader.
I'd like to turn to Poland now. You have traditionally been furiously pro-American in terms of, efforts to keep them on board as a guarantor of security in Europe. You've turned the term the Greenland dispute a matter between the Danish Prime Minister and President Trump. Just briefly, do you still stand by that after everything that you've seen in the past days and weeks?
Of course, United States of America are the most important Polish bilateral ally, but we also appreciate a lot NATO. We are the part of NATO, and we feel responsible for NATO. This is the biggest alliance in the history of 20th century. I'm looking at the problem of Greenland from the strategic side. We have Chinese, we have Russian. We feel in Poland Russian threat for 3 centuries even, and we understand it at all in eastern flank of NATO. Global GDP is consisted of 15% of European Union involvement and 15% of United States of America involvement, but according in terms of security, United States of America paying 65% for NATO and Europeans 35%, we have to consider what Donald Trump would like to say about the security, because he's responsible for security of the world as the leader, and we would like to support.
Thank you. I'm so happy he's saying this. All the videos that I've seen on Nawrocki have been quite positive, actually. I like that he's pro-US, obviously being an American, maybe I'm biased. And I think one of the big issues with this NATO thing and all the rhetoric coming from Europe attacking the US, they're saying, oh, we can't count on US to be a reliable ally. But the underpinning of everything is that Europe still relies on the US for so many things. Say what you want about Trump, he's the current sitting president of the US, okay? So you gotta respect that position. Just like when Biden was president or when Obama was president. And they're saying that the US shouldn't have any authority in European politics, but we have a lot of responsibility to defend Europe as well. If anything, we actually have the majority of responsibility in defending Europe. If you want the authority, it's your responsibility to defend it. A lot of European leaders want all the authority with very little responsibility, and those who do have the responsibility, they don't want to give them any authority, right? You see the weird logic?
Do you really think you can stay out of this row? Do you really think that, isn't this the moment right now for solidarity in Europe? Isn't this key to a united and a strong response?
There is the necessity of solidarity in Europe, but there is also the necessity of building the good transatlantic relations. And I think that transatlantic relations are very important. We know in Europe, Alex, all my European friends knows how many mistakes had Europe done after and before 2022, and Donald Trump tried to convince our European partners that we have to solidify, and his voice is very important because of the financial, because of the strategic, geopolitical point of view. I, of course, hope that it will be solved thanks to all partners on the diplomatic way, and
how far are you willing to go?
And I like that he's saying all these things, because some people will say that he's deflecting, but I think he has a pretty accurate viewpoint of the situation. I think a lot of Europeans, especially Western Europeans, like the posture, saying that, what we need is solidarity. But at the end of the day, in order to enforce your values in your countries, in the world, you need force. And if you don't have the proper military power or the force to be able to enforce your policies, then they're meaningless. And I think Nawrocki has a pretty good understanding of this, which is why he is taking the position that he has. And to be honest, I agree with him. I like living here in Poland because they do see Americans favorably. Yes, a lot of people don't like Trump, but I wonder how much of that is because of the majority of mainstream media being extremely against him, especially here in Europe. I can pull it up right here for you. So what percentage of mainstream media is biased against Trump? This is from Fox News, so I don't know how true that is. But in Europe, 98% negative tone against Trump. Financial Times, 84% to 86%. And BBC approximately 75% negative. Look, I'm not saying that Trump is perfect. I'm not saying that he's doing a great job. But just like any leader in the world, there are good things that they do and there are bad things that they do. He used to run this show called The Apprentice in the US for a very long time. During the time that it ran, my parents watched it every single week. They loved The Apprentice. Everybody loved him until he decided to run for president. It's crazy. The mainstream media did a total 180 on him. Someone like me who has seen all of this, it's very hard for me to believe a lot of what mainstream media says.
To have good transatlantic relations, does that mean giving the Americans Greenland, selling the Americans Greenland? How far should European allies go if the Americans do move on Greenland?
You know, we have 10,000 American soldiers in Poland. We buy American military equipment, which is the best on the world. South Korean is also very good, but American is...
and Finnish tanks you buy.
And Finnish tanks. The biggest army in East Central Europe. Poland increased percent of GDP for military service almost to 5%.
I think it's at 4% now.
So we feel responsible for Poland. I believe in Polish soldiers, in our alliance, but United States of America, for all eastern flank of NATO, are very important ally. And those relations are also based on our history. This is the relation of values. We have common independence heroes in Poland and in United States of America. So I think that we should solve this problem on diplomatic way. Of course, I appreciate Denmark voice is natural. It's our partner, Denmark. But I'm looking at the Greenland as strategic point in the geopolitical issue between free world, democracy's world, independence, and with Russia.
I like how he's acknowledging that both sides are right and both people have legitimate claims for their concern, right? And he has this opinion because Ukraine and Russia is like right at his doorstep.
Diplomacy is, of course, the part of the security guarantees. European Union need Donald Trump to be pushed by him to increase this budget. It's not good way, and many countries inside Europe still haven't. We have big problem about the feeling for our security and responsibility for secure European Union.
People are so caught up in whether someone is a good person or not. What about this rhetoric? I don't really care about all of that. I just care about results. Call me biased, whatever, but I think that is a pretty objective way to look at it.
But you are not happy with this answer, I suppose, of Mark Rutte, that we need Donald Trump in the European Union, but we believe in our military service in Poland. I would like to add that Poland won with the Soviets and Bolsheviks. Finland won with the Soviets and Bolsheviks. So we are ready in our countries to secure our independence, but we need geopolitical and some relations in Europe and in the world to be stronger.
We have time for
the Western Europeans are so scared of Russia, even though they haven't really had any experience with the Soviet Union or Russian attacks. But Poland was a Soviet state up until 89 or 90, right? Which is super, super recent. They have the most experience with Russian invasions.
Do you think, in all of this talk, in all of this conversation over Greenland, is Ukraine the casualty here? Do we run that risk?
What?
Can you repeat? I don't understand. Is
The
Ukraine...
conversation has been dominated in the past week and days.
About Greenland.
About Greenland.
Yeah. Okay, and...
Where is the attention now on Ukraine? What could this potentially mean for Ukraine? What
Ukraine
could it mean for the
NATO.
resources that they need so desperately in order to maintain this fight on the European continent?
We understand the problem about the Ukraine and still feel the Russian threat. I think that we are in the middle of the hybrid war. This is the peculiar Soviet composition which we have known for 100 years. This is the composition of a military force, information, disinformation, propaganda, and we are nowadays in the middle of hybrid war in the European Union.
Europe can defend itself without the Americans. If it comes down...
not exact, Mike, so that's not a quote.
More or less, we'll go back to the transcript. More or less.
If Europe was properly equipped with the military and they were spending money on the military as they should have been, you think they would be shitting their pants now as much as they are? Probably not. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. So I think this is the elephant in the room. It's like everybody wants to talk shit about Trump or talk shit about the US. But at the end of the day, and I think this is what makes the Europeans so mad, is they need America. You need America for defense. He's the leader of the most powerful country in the world. So you got to respect that, whether you agree with him or not. This was a very interesting conversation. I have tremendous respect for Nawrocki. Regardless of how you feel about him, he's the sitting president of Poland. I'm in this country as a guest, so if he's in charge or somebody else is in charge, I gotta respect the president. Based on this performance and what he was saying, I think he has a very realistic understanding of the situation, and he is looking out for the interests of Polish people in his country, which I think is also totally fair. What do you guys think of this kind of video? If you guys want me to watch more videos like this with Nawrocki or Tusk or any of the Polish politicians, let me know. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.